why we do what we do. Now, I want to kind of trace through history a little bit. I know this is the first all-staff meeting we've had since I've been here, and I've been here now 7 years. I can't believe I've been here 7 years. It went really quickly. And there are many, many of you in the audience that have been here far longer than me. And those of you that were here 7 years ago, you kind of know what things are like. HACLA had hit a pretty major bump in the road through no fault of your own. There have been some poor decisions made, and it opened the agency up for unwanted scrutiny. And that kept on going for a long period of time. We really had to be very hard on the staff. The staff continued to do their job. I mean, HACLA did not fall off the pace of doing your work, and you know that's really admirable. And it got to the point where, and this is how I came over to HACLA, I got a phone call on a Saturday from the mayor, and he said, "Get your, you know what, over there on Monday." So that was my notice to go over there and do what I could to get things back on track. And it's taken a while. We had to regain our credibility. We had to get the trust of the community. When I first got there, we had a city controller audit that was underway. We had HUD-OIG looking at us. We had HUD management review looking at us. Members of city council were presenting ordinances saying the city needs to take over HACLA. We need to change state legislation to do that. And so I spent a lot of time dealing with that and convincing everybody, look, we can straighten this out. This is a good organization. It does good work. We're going to not only play by the rules, we're going to be the best agency that we can be. And we're going to spend our dollars responsibly. And we're going to address our mission. And I'm always available to answer anybody's questions. And so it's taken time, but we have regained the public trust. Nobody talks about that anymore. People like working with HACLA. People respect HACLA. And that's because of everybody here in this room. So, also during this period of time, believe it or not, our federal government was pretty dysfunctional, you might say. We had, every single year, the budget was never approved on time. Never. One year we had sequestration. It was 2013. Well, they didn't even approve that budget until April 2014. Halfway through our budget year, and then we saw huge cuts. You can't run, we're a $1.3 billion operation. You can't run any organization that way. So it was very difficult from a management standpoint just to plan with any sort of certainty. And so there are other fronts we had to be pretty cautious on. And quite frankly, it was really disappointing. We had Barack Obama as president in 2008. I'll give away some of my history here. I spent most of my career in Chicago. Well, I knew Barack. I worked with him when he was a community activist. I spent some time at the Housing Authority in Chicago back in the 1980s. And I would run the meeting back then, not him. But what I do remember, he's the smartest guy in the room, and he looks like he's 50 years old. But here's somebody that really grew up and understood our business. We've never had a president like that before, never. And then his chief advisor, the White House, Valerie Jarrett. Valerie used to get an attorney to work for me. Later on in Chicago, Valerie became the receiver for public housing in Chicago. She was public housing inside and out. She was a court-appointed receiver. And even more so, it was personal with her. Some of you may have heard of the old public housing project, Robert Taylor Homes. It was the country's largest public housing site, about 4,300 units, high-rise buildings in South Chicago. Well, Robert Taylor was his Valerie's grandfather. So it was personal with her. She understood. And then, so they got into office, and who did they bring in as Secretary of HUD? Sean Donovan. I mean, I knew Sean. I worked with Sean. Well, Sean's a houser. Sean ran housing preservation development in New York City. We worked at HUD before. So we thought we hit the trifecta. I mean, everybody knew and understood our work and wanted to do well by public housing. But despite all of that, we never got our budgets. It wasn't their fault. In Congress, got to deal with a dysfunctional Congress. So even though we had the dream team in there, there were really many years of uncertain times for us at the Housing Authority. And of course now our federal government is more dysfunctional than ever. So on that front, things I think have gotten demonstrably worse. We had the world's longest shutdown. That was just last week. We're looking at the potential for something else coming up now. When the Trump administration came in, their HUD budget proposal that was first produced called for a 30% cut across the board in the HUD budget. Obviously, we know that would be devastating for the people that we work with, the people that we're here to serve. That would have been absolutely horrible. Thankfully, we didn't get that. But you know, in a kind of a weird way, I'm feeling a little bit better about things right now. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I've just been in this field for too long, but there are a few things that I see right now. I think it's important to see where we're coming from on this. Number one, there's an election in November. We've got a Democratic House. I kind of look at that as our firewall, if you will. We're not going to see a 30% cut, not with the Democrats controlling the House. Are we going to get more money? No. We're not going to get more money, but we're not going to be wiped out either. So that's a good starting point. In addition to that, 2020 is going to be a presidential election year. People are already lining up for that, right? And look at some of the candidates that we have. Senator Kamala Harris. She's already proposed major national housing legislation. We haven't seen people do that since I've been around. She's got a major proposal out there. Senator Elizabeth Warren, she's also proposed detailed major housing legislation. And Cory Booker, that's come online. He was a mayor in New York, he knows this stuff. He's also proposed major housing legislation. We are finally going to be a topic come the presidential election. It's been a long time since presidential politics have talked about housing. Right? Well, there's good reason. The reason is we have an affordable housing crisis on our hands. It's not just here in Los Angeles. We know what it's like here. We see the tents on the street all the time. We see the homelessness here all the time that we work with. And it's not just Los Angeles. It's not just California. It is growing nationwide because we've neglected our housing policies in this country. So this topic is not going to go away. People are going to take it seriously. And so from that standpoint, again, in kind of a strange way, I feel pretty good about where we're at right now compared to all of the uncertainties of the last 2 years. Again, that doesn't mean more money. Next year, where do I fit in all this? Well, this is where I want to pull my age card. I don't think I've done this before, but just to show you how long I've been around, there are a lot of people here that were celebrating the time with HACLA. I know I can outdo anybody here in terms of time in this meeting. And I want to walk you through a quick historical perspective about change. Because now that I've been around for a while, I look at change a little bit differently. So I started my career, not in public housing, but in housing and community development and working in urban neighborhoods straight out of college. And here's where I did myself. The program that I first started working on was Model Cities. Nobody opened up in the room, didn't know what program it was. Richard Nixon was president. Was that correct? You know all about Richard Nixon. I can tell you a few stories about him. I'll say that later. But at the time, you know, programs were run as categorical grant programs. You had urban renewal, you had model cities, you had water and sewer grants, you had planning grants. Everything was done, was highly regulated, and it was the federal government that controlled it, you know, right down to the community. That's the way it was done back then. In Chicago, good and bad, I saw the public housing got torn down. Actually, for a period of time, I was the developer of the new Cabrini Green development on the private side for a period of time before I came to Los Angeles. So I've seen a lot of that, good, bad, and ugly. And the most important thing here is we've got to do it responsibly. If we're going to come in and interrupt people's lives like this, we've got to be clear to them up front. We have to communicate that. We have to work with them, see what their needs are. We have to figure out a way to make this the least disruptive as we possibly can. Thirdly, organizational stability. We're looking at here, I hope by now we're stable. Sometimes I feel a little unstable. That was a joke. But it's to let everybody know where everybody stands. It's to align our responsibilities so it makes sense. It's to make sure we have open lines of communication. And make sure that all of you kind of understand what's going on. If you have questions, you have to be able to ask them and get some answers to them. Right? And you want to be able to work there. So organizational stability was one of our 4 principles. And then the final one was encourage innovation. I was talking about change before. I get excited about change. It's the ability to turn ourselves loose to figure out better ways of doing things. And that's at every level. That's innovation. Some of you in the audience know HACLA. She says that all the time. And with great sincerity, HACLA's her family. All of you are her family, and we're all together as a family in the way that we approach these things. And over the next year, we're going to be rolling out a detailed vision plan that incorporates much of this. It is detailed, by the way. It's about that thick. Condensed, probably weighs, what, 3 pounds? Maybe more. But it's an amazing work that's had input at every level. In every single one of our public housing communities, with those that are using Section 8, with homeless service providers that we touch, with stakeholders, with politicians. We want to get their feedback. What do you think of HACLA? What should we be doing? And how should we be doing it? What are the needs out there that we can address? And now that we've got this in place, we want to build this into our everyday natural way of doing business. So within the agency, we want everybody outside the agency to understand the role that we can play. We'll be looking to be expanding and increasing our partnerships that are out there. And we want to measure our successes and our failures. We want to know where to invest limited resources. So we're going to be tracking stuff systematically from myself at the CEO level all the way down through senior management as they set up their own performance goals. We want to start providing benchmarks, metrics. We're going to analyze this. We're going to make sure that we're on the right track on this. And we're going to report it out on a regular basis. And we're going to bring that throughout the agency. We've got a great group of people here. We're doing great work. We want the rest of the world to know about this as well. And we want to show them, look, you've got a good partner in us. You'd be crazy not to work with us. So that's what this is all about. And then finally, slide 10, Jenny. I can't read it, but I guess I don't have to. Because what it's all about is HACLA together. You know, as I say, we're family. We've got to do this together. We're going to deliver results that matter. We're going to advocate. We're going to have effective social impact. We're going to look at customer satisfaction, and this is a challenging field to deal with. I mean, we all recognize that, and we've got customers out there that will never be satisfied. Doesn't matter what we do, we're never going to be satisfied, right? Yeah, I heard an amen out there. But even if that is the case, we can always do better. You know, people operate under duress all the time, especially the folks that we deal with. I mean, it's tough out there, and they live under a lot of duress. We have to be excellent understanding of that, and we're going to work on customer satisfaction as one of many things we're going to be working on, and we're going to work on job satisfaction. We got a lot more things we need to do with the staff. We'll talk about some of those, but I think maybe at times, well, we haven't had this gathering since I've been on board now for 7 years. What's everybody think of this so far? I think you like it, right? More of this. It's not necessarily going to be in a place like this, you know, a sports bar with the door closed. But well, the bar is up on the second floor, and that does open at 5 o'clock, by the way. If you're going to stay for that, please do it responsibly. It is happy hour at 5 o'clock. But we're going to do it together as a team. You know, there's a lot I can learn from you, and maybe there are a couple things I can pass on to you, as well as the other senior management. We work far more effectively as a team. So that is a snapshot. You have in the goodie bags you picked up, there's a thing called Snapshot. It even goes into a little bit more detail of this short, more comprehensive plan that we put together that touches on every aspect of our business. The full vision plan. If we accomplish no more today, we accomplish getting everybody together under one roof as family. And so we want everybody to feel good about this. Again, if you disagree with some of the things I say or others say later, that's okay. But just the fact of us getting together in one place, I think it makes it all worth it. So before I get into things, I do have a few people I want to thank today. I see the list is growing here. But starting with Victoria Frazier. Victoria, she's around here, I know, because we worked with Victoria in setting this place up. And I've got to tell you, it's not normally configured this way. This is usually like for after football games and stuff, but instead she met all of our requirements, sage, technology, receiving everything. The food is perfect. So thank you, Victoria. We got Aaron Mitchell, who's the general manager here, Jim Balzer, who's the operations consultant, and Mark Austin is also here as well. I see I've got
the chef.
Oh, Michael Teich, he's the chef. Yeah, he's terrific. So he's in charge of all the menus here. Let's give him a hand. And then finally, I also want to thank our own Eric Brown for putting this together and so far pulling it off. If it doesn't go well, you're at fault there. This was his idea, and I think this is nice. This is better than sitting at the convention center in an auditorium and us being up on stage. It's a lot more interactive. Hopefully, this is a much better venue. I'd also like to recognize our commissioners that are here. We've got our board chair, Ben Besley. Ben? We also have with us Delfino de la Cruz. Delfino. And Dan Tenenbaum is with us as well. Dan? And our vice chair, Cielo Castro, may be joining us a little bit later. We'd love to have her come on in on this as well. And, you know, this is an important event. Number one, just to get together. Like I say, I think that's perhaps the most important part of all this. But today I want to take some time to share with you the state of the agency as I see it. It's been a while. I want to catch everybody up on what my thoughts are on that. We want to reinforce the mission of this organization. I know there are a lot of questions that have accumulated over the last few years. We're going to discuss those today, and we're going to talk about the mission, what we do and why we do it. I mean, that's really at the heart of what we're talking about today. And I also want to talk about the vision for our future. You know, how are we going forward? What's changing in the industry? What's changing with HACLA? I want to be able to answer your questions and give you a good solid sense as to what direction we're going in as an organization. So I think with that as opening, we're ready to cue the video, right? And you're going to see a video up on the screen here, and I'm sure all of you can relate to this. It's why we do what we do. So go ahead.